All right, the San Francisco 49ers are back in the win column after a dominant win over the New England Patriots. And coming up on this Monday edition of the Niners Report, takeaways, deep dive analysis, passing along everything that you need to know about the Niners in the aftermath of that 30-13 victory. And speaking of victories, it's a Victory Monday here on the 49ers Report. So if that gets you pumped up and you loved what you saw from that Niners win, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Haven't been able to say that the last couple of weeks because the Niners did suffer back-to-back ugly losses. No longer the case. And with that, let's start the show. And this is the San Francisco 49ers Report by Chat Sports. Chase Senior here with you. Really appreciate all of you for taking time out of your day to hang out here with me on the show. Defense, defense, defense. Biggest key to that Niners win yesterday was that side of the ball. They finally showed up. And yes, it was against a bad Patriots offense, which so far this year, and that trend continued on Sunday, they have been an anemic unit on that side of the rock. But it was a much-needed performance for this much-maligned Niners defense because we popped up these numbers last week. And going into week 4, this is where the Niners defense ranked. They were 21st in points per game, 16th in yards per game, 30th in yards per play among 32 teams, 30th in third down conversion rate, and 21st in red zone scoring numbers. But they flipped the script at Levi Stadium on Sunday, and this is the type of performance that they needed to get the confidence back, to figure out what they want to do with their scheme, which personnel that they want to have out there. And I was really impressed with how the Niners rebounded because in that game against the Los Angeles Rams, after that first quarter, they couldn't stop a nosebleed. And Matthew Stafford, Sean McVay, they knew that the prey was out there. They attacked that prey. They smelled blood, and they attacked that Niners defense. But yesterday, it was the Niners defense attacking the Patriots. And San Francisco only gave up 3 yards per carry. Niners have been bad against the run the last 2 years. They gave up 3.8 yards per completion in the air. So no explosive plays downfield a week after Matthew Stafford was letting it rip, taking the top off of the defense. New England, 5 of 16 on third downs, and a couple of those third down conversions, 2 of them came on that first drive. They sacked Jacoby Brissett 6 times, and the Niners were able to force 3 turnovers, couple of fumbles, and that Fred Warner pick 6 of Jacoby Brissett. And they were led by 2 of their dogs in Nick Bosa and Fred Warner. I thought yesterday against the New England Patriots, that was one of the best and most dominant games of Nick Bosa's career, and he won Defensive Player of the Year in 2022 with 18.5 sacks. And he's been one of the top edge rushers in the game since he got drafted out of Ohio State back in 2019. Per next-gen stats, Bosa had 9 pressures. And on top of that, he had a sack, a forced fumble, a fumble recovery, and a TFL. Regardless of where he lined up, right defensive end, left defensive end, he was beating double teams. He was winning one-on-ones. He made Jacoby Brissett's day a long day. And you look at this pass rush chart from Next Gen Stats. The green, all of the pressures that Bosa had. The blue, the lone sack that he had when he stripped Jacoby Brissett and then recovered that fumble. He had 32 pass rushing opportunities, 9 pressures, a pass rush win rate of 28.1%, and his get off, 0.51 seconds. He was looking really explosive. And this was a theme for the Niners throughout that game yesterday. The Pro Football Focus pressure numbers are different than the Next Gen Stats pressure numbers, but still, you see how active the Niners were with their front. Nick Bosa with the 5 pressures per PFF, Leonard Floyd with 5 on the other defensive end spot, Malik Collins with 3, Yetur Gross-Matos with 2, Kevin Givens with 2. I thought Sam Okuano played really well. He had the forced fumble and a pressure. Evan Anderson in his NFL debut with a pressure. 18 total pressures, according to Pro Football Focus, for the Niners yesterday. And in the first 3 weeks of the year, they really struggled in generating pressures and just overall getting to the quarterback. And so they were led by Nick Bosa, who turned back the clock and looked like his Defensive Player of the Year self. And last year, he was still really good. But with the get-off, with the moves, with the way that he was able to take over the game, notably with Fred Warner on the sideline, that's what great players do. And an overreaction this morning, when you shift from Nick Bosa at defensive end to defensive tackle, as the Niners were without Javon Hargrave, and they will be for the rest of the year because of that torn triceps. Are the Niners better without Javon Hargrave? Little bit too early to say that, but I've talked about this a lot. And I talked about this when the Niners signed Javon Hargrave. He is a pass rushing defensive tackle. And the last 2 years, the Niners EPA had gone from, in the previous 2 years, top 3 to the bottom third of the league. And the signing of Javon Hargrave could have coincided with the Niners' struggles against the run. I thought Kevin Givens played well. Yetur Gross-Matos is playing a little bit of defensive tackle. Malik Collins had a really good day. Jordan Elliott was in there a little bit before he injured his knee. But the Niners were much better against the run, and that was something that they needed to do well, because going into that game, you knew the Patriots were going to try to run it with Ramondre Stevenson, because New England understood that the Niners had really struggled in stopping the ground game. And the Patriots' offensive rankings going into this game, look, this is not a good offensive unit. Jacoby Brissett has been a backup for a reason. He's a spot starter until the Patriots believe that Drake May is ready. But 31st in points per game, 32nd in yards per game, 30th in yards per play, 23rd in third down conversion rate, 28th in red zone scoring percentage, 29th in touchdowns per game. What the Niners needed to do was get the confidence going. What the Niners needed to do was put on tape a quality defensive performance, and they feasted on this bad Patriots offense. And that's a great sign and great news for the San Francisco team moving forward. From one star in Nick Bosa to the other star in Fred Warner. We are a month into the 2024 NFL season, and through 4 games, 49ers linebacker Fred Warner is the early Defensive Player of the Year. And if he's able to win that award, it's really going to help his Hall of Fame case, because already he's on a Hall of Fame track. Warner to this Niners defense brings this team so much. Instincts, high football IQ, speed, physicality, leadership, the ability to diagnose plays and read the eyes of the quarterback, and just wreak havoc with his speed from sideline to sideline. But also, he's great against the run. You can use him as a blitzer. He's phenomenal dropping back in coverage. He is an all-around linebacker, the best linebacker in the game. Right now, he's playing like the best defensive player in the National Football League. And every single week, he is an absolute joy to watch. And his Pro Football Focus numbers this year are stupid. An overall PFF grade of 95.9, a coverage grade of 94.5, a run defense grade of 88.9. He is allowing a passer rating when targeted of 17.6, and that's coming on 105 coverage snaps. We will see what the diagnosis is of his ankle injury, set to undergo an MRI on this Monday. We'll hear from Kyle Shanahan later. But part of Fred Warner's greatness, his durability. He has played in 114 of 115 games since he was a third-round pick out of BYU in 2018, the only game that he missed back in 2021 on the road against Seattle. What is the theme behind this great defensive performance for the Niners against the Patriots in Week 4? Can it be a turning point for the season? You hope so, but they were led by their 2 best players. Nick Bosa addressed the defensive line room on Saturday night. Fred Warner gave a fiery speech to his teammates before the game on Sunday. That's what leaders do. So what do you think? Is Fred Warner the Defensive Player of the Year through the first month? For me, it is a big yes. I'm typing my Y for yes. If you disagree, type your N for no. Let me know down in the comment section right now. Coming up next here on today's Niners Report, let's talk some offense. In particular, quarterback Brock Purdy. Stay tuned for that. But first, our sponsor today, our great friends at Game Time, the best ticketing app in the entire marketplace. In a very competitive industry, Game Time stands out because they give you the best seats, they give you the lowest price guaranteed, the user interface is the best. Prices drop as the event gets closer, and they guarantee you that you will get in the door with the best seats at that lowest price. So you can save money and you can put together great memories by going to a Niners game, but it's not just an app for sporting events. Of course, if you want to go to Niners games this year, plenty of tickets available at Levi's Stadium or on the road. But if you also are like me and you're versatile with your interests, I love comedy. Love going to comedy shows. Who doesn't like to laugh? I love music. I love going to concerts. Theater events from time to time can be a good time, especially on a date night if you're trying to do something classy, look good, feel good, do something good. See what I'm saying? So download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Terms apply. First purchase only. Game Time picks phenomenal because it allows you to save money and get the best seats at the lowest price guaranteed. What time is it? Game time. Let's talk offense here. The Niners have been paced this year by elite play from quarterback Brock Purdy. And once again against the New England Patriots, just like he's been pretty much every game this year, and he did have some dull moments against the Vikings, but still put up great numbers, Brock Purdy was once again really, really good. And in 2024, the numbers do not lie. The tape doesn't lie. Our eyes are not lying to us. Brock Purdy has been phenomenal in the first 4 weeks, and he is an MVP candidate. He is first in the league in passing yards. He is first in the league in yards per attempt. He is third in the NFL in air yards per attempt at 9.7. And yesterday, he was uncorking deep shots left and right, and it was great to see that element return to this Niners offense. His pressured completion percentage, fourth in the NFL at 69.5. He is fourth in air yards, 917 of his 1,130 passing yards through the air. His adjusted air yards per attempt, sixth in the NFL at 8.4. His accuracy rating, 6. That is eighth. And his pressured throws. He's been pressured a lot. This offensive line hasn't done him a lot of favors with their pass protection, 9th with 23. And last year, we really saw what Kyle Shanahan's offense can look like when he has a quarterback who can throw the deep ball. Brock Purdy yesterday, whether it was to Deebo Samuel, Jawan Jennings, he was pushing the ball downfield and throwing with great accuracy. I was told that Brock Purdy had a weak arm. I was told that Brock Purdy only checks it down. I was told that Brock Purdy is not a dynamic player. Well, now he's making plays out of structure with his legs. He's improvising with his legs. He has great pocket movement to extend plays with his feet. He's dropping his arm angle down to 3/4 and sidearm, and he's completing passes like that nowadays. He's taking complete onus of this Niners offense, and he's completing passes at all three levels, vertically, but also from sideline to sideline. This is what elite quarterbacking looks like. When you have control of the offense, you're able to make plays in structure. You're able to make plays out of structure. You lift your teammates up and you make them better. And whether he's against the Rams without his big supporting cast of star players, or without him, or he's playing against the Patriots with some of these star players, Brock Purdy makes his teammates better. And that's the sign of an elite quarterback too. And he's been under duress, and his throws have been stressful because the Niners are last in the NFL in wide receiver separation. Only 25% of Brock Purdy's passing yards have come from yak so far this year. Their lowest percentage yak for a full quarterback season since 2000, it's 29.8%. Now that will probably regress to the mean, but crazy, crazy things to see from a Shanahan offense, and I think they're only going to get better. A good tweet right there from Benjamin Solak, formerly of The Ringer and now of ESPN. Some more offensive takeaways that I have from this Patriots game. Jordan Mason is number 2 in the league in rushing yards with 447, and the Niners have greatly missed Christian McCaffrey being a threat out of the backfield and from the slot. Catching the football, it's really hurt them and hindered them on third downs and in the red zone. Yesterday, it was really nice to see Jordan Mason impact the game through the air as a receiver, and he looked very comfortable in catching the football. Shoot, his touchdown that he caught and ran for should have held and remained a touchdown if it wasn't for that awful holding penalty on George Kittle. So I want to see Jordan Mason do that a little bit more because it gives the defense something to think about and to defend against. And I think it could open up some things for this Niners offense. Javon Jennings, second consecutive week in which he balled out again. He's the top number 3 wideout in the NFL. And right now, he's the number 1 wide receiver for this Niners team. Yes, Brandon Ayuk demands attention, and part of that leads to Javon Jennings getting some looks. But look, it's not like he's breaking free and wide open. Like, he's having to work for some of these catches, work for some of these yards, and he's making the most of his opportunities. The Niners' run blocking yesterday was really good. The pass blocking, not great. And I have concerns about that moving forward because Brock Purdy has just been pressured too much. And if he had more clean pockets, he could play even better. And he's already playing elite ball. And yesterday, I know that when you look on the stat sheet, Brandon Ayuk didn't do all that much, but it looks like he's getting closer. You know, he had that long passing play, and then he had that diving catch. He made a couple of nice plays where I was like, okay, that looks like the explosive Brandon Ayuk from last year. Part of the reason why he doesn't have a ton of production is because the Niners don't run their offense through him. If they did, and they targeted him like Justin Jefferson or Jamar Chase or CD Lamb, he'd have greater production. But Kyle Shanahan, and this isn't a bad thing, they like to spread the ball out a little bit more, and they like to run the football and prioritize that. If anything, it's like, are you sure you wanted to give Ayuk $76 million in guaranteed money and $30 million per year when you're not really ever going to target a wide receiver like a true number 1? Something to think about. Other areas of concern, the Niners have to clean up their sloppy penalties. They haven't been able to finish inside the red zone. That is the Christian McCaffrey effect. They're scoring touchdowns when they get inside the red area at a 50% clip. That's 17th in the NFL. Look, I look at the month of September nowadays in the NFL as an extension to the preseason. You don't want to be peaking right now. You want to be peaking a little bit later. So I do think that the Niners can and will improve in this area, but that'll make games a lot closer if you're scoring 3 instead of 7 and you're not able to break away from these teams because the margin for error is obviously a lot lower. I still don't have full trust in this Niners defense that they're going to be able to get stops against elite quarterbacks until they prove to me that they can. And the Niners, they have way too much talent to not be knocking the ball into the end zone and settling for all these field goals. They have to get better there. So some concerns, and then the disjointed nature of this offense. They look like a team that was without Trent Williams, Brandon Ayuk, and didn't have their full semblance of offensive players from last year to this year because some of the penalties are just inexcusable at this point, and they're completely avoidable. So that's why I think the arrow is pointing up for this team, and they could certainly make some good improvements. But Arizona next week is not going to be an easy game. Be sure to give me a follow on X and Instagram at Chase_Senior. I push out a lot of short-form Niners content on my social media pages. As always, thank you so much for watching the show. And don't forget to subscribe.